Big Brother 23 has now flipped the script on the house guest. The teams are done. We've seen Christian booted, and here we go. We now have this thing that America gets involved in. What did you think?
So, okay. Overall, I thought the episode was the most intense episode that we've seen yet on Big Brother 23. And in general, in the past few seasons, I was really into it. I was literally eating Cheerios with my baby out of the Cheerio box. I couldn't stop eating them. I was literally like that movie gif, when you're eating the popcorn, but it was Cheerios because I have a baby. And I was on the edge of my seat. It was just such a great episode. We didn't know who was going to go home. This cast has really been promising. This reminds me a lot of old school Big Brother, where it's not as predictable. So Big Brother's changing. We're in jury now. I think it's time that they do switch it up, because now we're in jury, right? So we're going to have people being a little more competitive. And if, remember, it's $750,000. So that has to be going through their mind every day. They're competing for more money. There's a chance now to win powers, to gamble a little, to get coins. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I hope it's not just where it's, we all vote for Alyssa this week or something, and she gets 100 coins, and then she, spends them all, and the next week she doesn't have anything. So I hope it's not like that, unless it's because what I hate is what we saw last season when Janelle and Kaser both played in that very first safety competition, saving them both, which, made it so Janelle couldn't compete the next week. So they couldn't use it as strategy. So I hope that we don't see something happen where people can't use this as strategy. I want them to be able to use it as strategy. If that makes sense. I thought
that was interesting is Julie did mention that you could, so the top vote getter will have 100 BB bucks.
Top three vote getters.
Yeah, vote getters. The next three get 75 and everybody else gets 50. So there's a single person with 100 BB bucks, then three with 75 and the rest with 50. And then you can hold on to that and let it ride and then grow your bank for the next few weeks until this part of the game is over. And I think that's interesting because there are some weeks that maybe you go, I don't need to go in there and compete. But one thing that we heard Julie say is that the better the power, the more it costs to play. So that means, if you don't have $100 or if you don't have maybe a couple $100, you can't play a certain competition. And I guess the contestants are going to learn what they have as far as their bank, and then how much it costs to play each of these different games. And if you're in trouble, if all you got is $50, you're going to throw it on there and you're going to take the gamble. Yeah. But if you're feeling safe this week, I think you're going to let it ride. And then when it's time or when it's about to be over, you get in and see if you can do something. But again, like a casino, you may lose.
Exactly. And that is something I love and hate about this season, her risk and rewards that she promises us. But my biggest thing is if they're saving their coins and they're safe this week, right? And so they're saving it up. I hate when people don't even use their coins, because we see that happen a lot when people just don't even go for it. I hate that. But then I'm also thinking okay, there's a chance, like I said, Alyssa, let's say she wins 100 and she uses her 100 this week. And the next week she doesn't have it, so she can't play. But this week she didn't need to play, but she wasted it. And I know that's part of the risk and reward, but I hate that because it just drove me crazy when Janelle and Kaser played in the same safety competition. And instead of being able to save each other 2 weeks back to back, they lost that second week. So I really want it to work in a favor for people so that they can use it as strategy. But it's they're all new. I don't know. I think if I was playing, I would obviously spend my money and play the competition. But then I would also start thinking about how to say, maybe play a $50 competition. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We don't know the competitions.
I think, and this is me in a casino. I always play it very safe. I don't want to lose much at all. And I'm the guy, at the table there. If I win, I'm putting it in my pocket till I got all the money that I brought in there back in my pocket, and then I'm playing with house money. So I think I would watch the first week if I felt like I was really, really safe. If I'm a member of the Cookout, I think I'm going to sit and I'm going to watch and see how this shapes up. And then the next week, I think that's when you get in, or maybe a couple of weeks after that, when you realize the kind of risk and reward, and you see how it plays out. Because I think that you brought up something that I wasn't thinking about. What if it puts you out the next week and this really hurts you in the game? I think that's a big question for these players. So you need to watch it. You need to see how it is gonna play in your favor. But it is certainly going to again shake up the game. And that has been happening since week 1 when we had Frenchie in power. And we watched as that guy from the Aloha State, Travis, walk out of the house. And you and I spoke to him after we sent him packing on the Big Brother show, and then he got back home. And I mean, were you surprised at all that the first thing he did was catch some waves?
No, not at all. That's such a Travis thing. So it's so funny because I always thought on Big Brother that Travis reminded me of that surfer guy that they love to cast for Big Brother. We've seen this person before, but like he was a little different because he was a little more with it, you know, and he was a little bit, I felt like he was going to play the game a little more, but I was sad to see him go. But of course, he's going to catch some waves, you know, maybe in a few years, we'll see him on another reality show.
You never know. I feel like you're putting a challenge out here.
Exactly.
Okay. What's life like out of the BB bubble?
It's beautiful. I mean, I'm insanely grateful for the experience. Every single second in the house was marvelous, but it's really, really good to be back in paradise too. You can't complain when home is Hawaii and you're coming back this way.
Yeah. So,
true.
A couple days back, there in Hawaii, have you had time to talk to people, take a look at what all went down, and see where the game is now?
Yeah, you know, I haven't even had time to hop on the live feeds or anything like that. I've just kind of been talking with friends and family and people being like, oh man, that Frenchie guy, he sucked, you know, and I have to kind of talk them down and be like, oh no, you know, he's not so bad. It's kind of the nature of the beast. So yeah, it's been a little chaotic, but it's been really, really fun.
Yeah, it does look like his days are numbered there. Do you like that? Does that feel good? Is it any redemption?
Yeah, I guess as much as I could, you know, like someone kind of being stripped of 750K, you know, I really made good friends with everybody in there. But I guess if someone has to go, the person that's, you know, the result of me sitting here isn't too shabby.
All right, fair enough.
We had some really fun questions that fans were asking. One question was about your abs.
Yeah, so I took the shirt off for the kind of the pre-eviction speech, and then I was sitting there, and we kind of, I think, went to commercial break, or you know, they kept tallying the votes, and I was like, I should put my shirt back on if I have to meet Julie. So yeah, I ended up throwing it back on and walking out there in a shirt. Luckily, I'm sure as fun as it would have been to be out on stage, I'm sure they would have preferred me to be shirted.
Oh, you know, it's Big Brother. You're supposed to not wear a shirt. It's the summer. So Hannah Horn 1995 wants to know if you would have won HOH, who would you have nominated this week?
Funny enough, I think I would not have put Frenchie up at the time, having the information that I did. Yeah, I think I would have kind of stuck with him, and just because at the time I thought he had so much sway in the house, kind of this authoritative figure over a lot of people, especially the younger people in the house. So yeah, I think I would have kept him, and I probably would have put up Christian and Alyssa, just because little potential showmance there is an easy target, and Christian's like the more handsome version of me, so why not get rid of that guy, right?
Well,
right. Well,
so that's the threat.
Exactly, and that's what at Jackie Jester 21 wants to know. If you were in the house, would you target the showmance of Christian and Alyssa? Do you think it's a showmance? And do you think that your relationship with, because you were not Alyssa, is that why you're gone, basically?
To be fair, yeah, it's a spicy one.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't really think it's a showmance. I think it's an easy target to call out as a showmance just because I think they're good homies. They're on the same team. They went through their have-not week together. I'm sure that's really rough and bonds everyone. But yeah, funny enough, I don't actually think it's a showmance, but Frenchie did for a while, and I'm sure it's an easy sell, and it would be a way for me to kind of have the least blood on my hands, putting them up for that reason.
Nice. Okay, so at Hamster 91724 wants to know, this is a good one too. Who do you think your closest ally in the house was? And if you were still there, who would you still be in an alliance with?
Yeah, my closest ally, for better or for worse, because the guy couldn't really keep his mouth closed a whole lot, but it has to be Derek X.
Yeah.
We were the showmance that never quite came to be. And yeah, I love the guy. We became really, really solid friends in there. And I would have loved to work with him and Kylan.
Are you rooting for Derek X right now?
Very much rooting for him. Yeah, he's like kind of a veto champ right now. You know, he puts in work in the competitions. He's a really, really bright guy. And I know he had my back and I could trust him.
That's important. Yeah. Have you been out surfing? Come on.
Day one. Yeah, I had to go catch some waves, get my toes in the sand and get some rays on my skin. It was a beautiful thing.
Oh, we love that. So we did have a This or That Big Brother edition, which no cheating, because I know you already kind of know the answers. All right, so the This or That, the mascot of Hawaii, or I guess the state fish, or the mascot of Big Brother.
Which is Zingbot. Zingbot.
Which is Zingbot.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, Zingbot or the Hawaiian fish.
The Hama Hama Nuka Nuka Pua.
Of course, yes, yes.
I wanted you to say it.
I totally knew. Yeah.
Yeah, we want you to say it.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't know if that could ever happen. We might be here all day if I try to bust that one out. I gotta go with Zingbot, right? It's just easier to pronounce. And
yes.
Yeah.
All right,
That
the
one is correct.
sunsets of the Big Brother backyard or the sunsets of Hawaii?
You know, that's a tough one. The Big Brother backyard had the beautiful, luscious mountains, the palm trees in there. It almost reminded me of home, but I got to go with the real thing. There's nothing like the Hawaiian sunset out here.
That's true. I love it. All right, the pool of the Big Brother backyard or the ocean of your Hawaiian backyard?
Both are a beautiful time, beautiful people, but there's a lot less sneakery and scheming going on in the ocean. So I got to go with the Hawaiian ocean out here.
All right.
I mean, there are some
My
toothy
favorite
predators
one we have to
in the
ask.
ocean
Oh,
and
go
in the
ahead.
Big
Sorry,
Brother house.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're going to get bitten either. Yeah. You got to watch out.
Yeah.
exactly. My favorite one, the Hawaiian shirt wardrobe that you brought or the competition wardrobe that you received while being in Big Brother.
You know what? I think the competition wardrobe made me feel right at home. There was no shirt or shoes involved in that one, and that's the way I love it. So yeah, I gotta go the competition wardrobe.
Woo!
Okay, all right.
We love that.
Now that you're out here, Travis, and you're back home and you are looking at everything, do you feel like Frenchie's getting what he deserves, or you said you didn't see it happen and you thought he was in so much power, and in a week's time, so much changed for that guy.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the house is totally flipping on him. That was honestly something I didn't really anticipate. I thought he was kind of more an authoritative, father figure over more people than he actually is. And maybe that was true or not. But when, Kylan came into power with the head of householdship, and he totally felt betrayed, having been put up on the block by Frenchie. I mean, that is a really easy target to go after, and it's understanding that he did it. I'm just surprised kind of the whole house seems to be rallying around Frenchie going out. Maybe it's because he's, next to such a gem on the block too. I mean, Brittany, she could never go anywhere. She's too precious. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Anybody in that house that surprised you that you go, no one's really looking at this particular player, but maybe it's a Brittany. I don't know who it is that you go, this is a dangerous person because everybody seems to like this player and nobody is really, I mean, it's hard to say in just a week's time, but nobody's got this particular person on their radar.
Yeah, absolutely. That is Professor X himself. Xavier
Okay.
is probably just as smart as Professor X. I mean, the guy, he's methodical with, he's calculated and methodical with his conversations. He places himself in the right positions to just listen in, even if he's not giving any input. And, that goes really far. He's kind of positioned himself to be a fly on the wall and just soak everything in without really inputting himself. So I think he's playing the best kind of under the radar game right now. And I mean, have you seen the guy? He is like wicked shredded. I'm sure he can absolutely kill Tom. He's really, really intelligent. So no one's really looking at him. And I think he's a huge threat.
Okay. but you saw it, so maybe there are others in there paying close attention. We shall see.
Yes.
If you had one last thing, Travis, that you wanted to leave all the Big Brother fans with here as they see you, what do you want to say? I know we're going to see you back for finale night, we hope, and all that good stuff. But you know, what do you want to say right now?
Yeah, I think it's funny. I kind of went into the game, you know, thinking I could be super malicious and just lie to faces all day long, and that's what it took to win the game. And I totally understand now. On one hand, that's not what it takes. You don't have to, you know, be totally malicious and just lie, cheat, you know, kill and steal your way to the top in that game. And that it is a social game, and we're social creatures, you know. So kind of your real, genuine personality comes out. You really get to know people for better, for worse. And it just happened that I kind of fell too far, you know, in love with some of the people that I developed relationships with, and put my own game on the back burner. But I'm grateful for those relationships. I know we'll pursue those friendships after, and I'm extremely grateful and really thankful for all of it.
Wow, we're thankful for your time. You know, Rachel, that's so true. How in just a short amount of time you build those relationships. That's why there's so many tears, and people say, "Why do they cry over everybody?" You become a family, and it happens so fast. I mean, you might even meet your spouse in there.
Yeah,
Exactly,
literally,
yeah.
exactly. I was gonna say. I mean, that's why people get married from the show.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, we were sitting in there calculating and you know, going throughout the whole season, you know, making like final 4 or 5. I mean, you end up spending more time with people in the house than you would your parents, you know, in an average year, just with the 24 hours a day always being on. It's insane. And that now I understand why, you know, those relationships are so kind of hyper developed at such a quick rate.
And it helps that we put away our devices. You got no contact with the outside world.
Yeah.
What a concept, guys. So after you watch this podcast, then shut it off and talk to everybody in your life, right?
That's it.
Travis, thank you. Best to you. Get out and catch a wave today for us.
Thank you all.
Wait, Rachel, the best part of that is what's the mascot of Hawaii? Say that again.
The state fish, hama hama nuka nuka pua.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Or Zingbot.
Yeah, or Zingbot. I mean, I picked Zingbot, but you know, it's just fun to say hama hama nuka nuka pua.
That was an addition to the show much later. I didn't live in the BB house when Zingbot was even a thing. I was there before OTEV. None of this was a part of the game. So now as a fan, having watched from season 1 and all the way through, it's so fun to see some of the things that were added. You know, keep in mind, the Golden Power of Veto appeared in our season.
Yeah.
And famous words were spoken. We should have used them.
Yes.
I know. Somebody posted that the other day on my Twitter feed. They just were like, just a reminder. Anything out of that interview with Travis that really stood out? Some of the things that fans asked, I thought were really interesting.
Yeah, I thought that, you know, basically, I think that with Travis, he didn't really understand, like, how to navigate. And I think that was really interesting when he was talking about that. He just felt like he didn't really have a chance that week, because it was like, it's such a weird week. The first week, nobody really knows anyone. He felt like he said there's nothing he could have really done differently. And that's probably true. And it felt like, I remember being in the Big Brother house for 14 days before our first eviction, I think 14 or 16 days. And so I felt like he was in there a lot less, you know? So I'm not sure if that like maybe changed the game a little bit as well.
It probably did. You bring up a good point, because the first episode of this season was live.
Yeah.
And typically when we get to that first episode, that show has, followed the house guests for at least a few days, if not more than a week. And so by the time the first eviction happens, you're right, it's usually a couple of weeks of living in there or more. So Travis just hit the ground running. It didn't have the chance or the time to really get his footing. He also had Frenchie as HOH, and there's no love lost for that guy, Travis. Right. And it's interesting because he saw the writing on the wall. We talked to him before the second eviction, where he said goodbye to Frenchie, and that's what he knew would go down. And I thought that was very, very interesting. He saw that week caused so much chaos and turmoil that it was going to be tough for Frenchie to survive his HOH and kind of the chaos that spawned out of it. But on the flip, it was a very exciting, fun first week of the show with tons of drama and thrills for fans.
drama, right? Exactly. And I think also what I thought was really interesting was that Travis did mention that, Frenchie only had a certain amount of people he could nominate, and then he promised safety to everyone. So it was a really weird first week because there really wasn't that many people that Frenchie could even go after, So I think like for poor Travis, maybe we'll see him on another show. I don't like I said.
I know. I feel like I'm putting it out here into the universe. Somebody's going to find him and bring him on. Anything else right now that you are looking forward to on Big Brother 23 as we move forward in this season?
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to this risk and reward idea they have throughout this season. Because, we know being fans, sometimes when they have these twists, these like ideas that they have, it doesn't always work out. I'm talking about like a saboteur, or I'm talking about when they had 3 people on the block. So I think we're going to see this voting thing. And it's always weird with the votes because someone brought up in Twitter when I said that I was going to be interviewing people that, when my sister on Big Brother 15 they had voting every week. And so they got someone got to vote and put someone else up for eviction. So every week in a row, my sister was winning because I was championing in that, let's all vote for Alyssa this week. And then the week that they were like, okay, now you're voting for someone for a punishment, it was for her to go to be nominated. She won that week too. So it was every week she was winning a secret power, but then the week that she, instead of winning a secret power, she also won to be nominated. So it was the fans kind of messed up. So
it is true. Sometimes when you turn the game over to us,
right,
we don't always get it right. And maybe a player we love, we mess something up for their game. And that's all part of it. It is really hard to navigate. And now, as a former player, looking at the twist that came at us in some of those early seasons, man, now the twists are so intense and so big. It really is a lot about luck. And then it's just sometimes, it's just as this season has a lot to do with cards and casinos and gambling, the cards are dealt in your favor or your team's favor or your alliance. And you just, your strategy goes out the window very quickly with a season like this. I don't think these house guests came in expecting all of these twists and turns. And, whoever manages to pull it out and win that $750,000 prize at the end, they're deserving of it for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm thinking this $750,000 cash prize, they've upped the game, they've upped the cast. Whoever's in the end is really playing this game. And we see every week someone is overplaying. Tiffany, she's been overplaying again. I love her. And then I'm like, oh my God, she's so great. And then she overplays. So
I asked you about this. I said, do you think she's playing too hard, too fast? And now it happened. We saw it in the episode.
And we totally saw that happen where now she's playing too hard. People are onto her. Her alliance is breaking up. She's going to be in the wrong. I don't know. Poor Tiffany. I think she just totally imploded her game because of that. I think people like Derek F are benefiting because of that, because he's becoming closer with the other people because of how bad Tiffany's messing stuff up.
Right. So we have to, in the next few days and weeks, watch closely what this means in a shift for the cookout. Yeah. Because unfortunately, I'm not so sure that someone who's got a seat at the table isn't about to lose their spot and get kicked from the cookout.
100%. I think the cookout is definitely the cookout is over. So yeah, they are not getting over. Anything.
I just think we've uninvited a few people. That's what I really do think that the cookout is going to stay strong. But I think Tiffany's place in that alliance is really shifting. And I'm sad to see that because I do like her. And I have seen some comparisons to the strategic playing that Danielle Reyes did on season 3 of Big Brother. And so, I've been rooting for her. And, she's a mom. We got all these things. And she has really drawn in some contestants. But here's the beauty of Big Brother. There is this magical amnesia that happens from week to week. She may be able to do her magic and cast a spell, and in a week or two,
I'm so sorry, my dog.
I love it. We had a baby, now we got a dog. Who's this?
Come here, Angel. Come here. Come here. This is my little puppy mutt. She's a rescue mutt.
Oh, I love it. What's her name?
Angel.
Oh, you were.
She might be part
being an
coyote.
angel
We're
there.
not sure. We're not sure what she's mixed with.
Well, Angel, you just wanted to be part of this, and we get it. You're a part of the BB family now. Welcome to the Secret Alliance. The Cookout might be soon losing a member, but we've added one to the Secret Alliance.
Exactly. We've got this.
From babies last time to the dogs. Oh, yeah, this whole thing's going to the dogs.
I love it. I love it.
All right, Rachel, have a great one. We'll see you
Thank
next time
you.
for the Secret Alliance. Make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications. Have a good one.
Bye.